We'll save some time at the end, Coach, if for questions. If the guys will have a raise hand feature. If you depending on your workflow, if you want to stop as you go and answer a couple questions, that's cool too. But we'll make sure we have some the attendees know they'll have a chance at the end. We'll get a couple questions in. So I appreciate you, Coach. Take it away.
Cool. Yeah, and either Coach Jim or Niles, if somebody's got a question as I'm going and you guys want to, I don't know if you guys can see it or you guys want to jump in. Otherwise, I'll just answer questions at the end. So I'll go ahead and go. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be. I'm getting the authority to admit people now. So I don't know if somebody else can make themselves an administrator as well. So you guys can get in. But I'll go ahead and get started. Jim, definitely appreciate you having me on. I think this is the second time I've done one of these with the MFC, and man, you're putting on great clinics. There's been tremendous speakers. Coach Harvey right before me. Appreciate you giving me a shout out, and man, just a long line of really good high caliber coaches, high caliber people, college and high school programs from all across the country. So I'm definitely honored to be here. I'm going to talk a little bit about our quarterback footwork and mechanics in our mesh game. So this is really just how we practice ball handling and training our quarterbacks, training their feet, training their eyes, really teaching them how to do this. If you're going to be a first level, second level, third level team in the read option game, this is something that you got to do every day. And we do this 10 minutes every day. So just going to walk you through some of our rules, what we teach our quarterback, how we've tried to streamline it. And then at the end, if you guys have some questions, we'll fire away. I'm pretty active on social media at Coach Mohns on Twitter. My email's down there, jmohns@susd.org. I've been actively getting my kind of CoachTube page built up, so I'm not here to tell you anything, but if you like some of the stuff you hear, make sure you check that out. I've got some pretty good stuff up. So with that said, let's dive right into this. I'm not going to talk a ton about our school. I'm the head coach and offensive play caller at Saguaro High School. We're out here in Scottsdale, Arizona. 4A school, about 1,300 enrollment. Had won 6 consecutive state championships from 2013 to 2018, and we fell a touchdown short this past year in the first ever Arizona Open Division Playoff Championship, where they took the top 8 teams from 4A, 5A, and 6A into one bracket. So it was a lot of fun. If you're going to have your run come to an end, it was I guess you could live with it. We played a damn good team in Chandler High School, who had won 3 in a row at the highest level, and got down early, fought our way back in, and gave ourselves a chance. It's been a hell of a run. We've had tremendous players, tremendous coaching staff that we've been able to get together. So with that, let's get right into this whole deal. So just want to talk a little bit. Usually when I do this clinic, I'm kind of up, and I'm usually sweating bullets by the end of it because I like to be active and show you. So I do the best I can with my webcam here on my computer. So just talk a little bit about quarterback pre-snap stance. We put our quarterback's heels at 5. I know everybody's different on that one, but we prefer to have our quarterback's heels at 5. We tell our quarterbacks to have their feet shoulder width apart. I would like them to be balanced. But if they feel like they have to stagger, I don't let them stagger any more than toe to instep. I just kind of feel like we talk to them all the time about being kind of in a short stop position where your knees are bent, and especially at the high school level, that snap can be unpredictable. So I just feel like if you get into a big staggered stance and you kick one foot way back, especially for the righties that kick their right foot way back, if that ball's down low to the left, it's going to be really hard to range and get there. So we want them to be in an athletic stance, no more than toe to instep with their stagger. We tell them to bend their knees in an athletic position. Again, we kind of talk about being in kind of like that defensive position in basketball. We don't want to get too low, but we definitely want to be athletic. We want to think about, if we're running bad snap drill, how can we go make a play on any kind of snap that we can get. We tell them to extend their arms towards the center. We want a slight bend in the elbows. So we don't want to lock our arms out. We just want a nice loose bend in the elbows. We want to slightly cock our wrists. So, you'll see some guys kind of have their fingers pointing straight at the center. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure we cock our wrists so we're showing palms. And then we want to make the U. So we're going to kind of show our hands like this. Thumbs should be close together. I don't want I don't want to slap at the ball when it comes in. I want to be right here and kind of make that U. Wrists are slightly cocked. Thumbs are touching. They don't have to be locked on, but I want them close enough where they can touch real easy. Okay, so that's our pre-snap mechanics. Post-snap mechanics, and these are the important coaching points, and our kids, our coaches, they hear this all the time. We tell our quarterbacks to catch it out front and keep it out front. So we want to catch that ball. We've got our arms extended. We want to make sure that we catch that ball out front. And as we flip our hips and swing around, that ball's got to stay out front. What I don't want to do is I don't want to catch the ball, bring it into my chest, and then push it back out. And the reason I don't want to do that is because we're a zone read RPO team where our quarterback's eyes are always reading somebody else. It's not the quarterback's responsibility to find the running back. Okay, it's the running back's job to get his chest over the ball. And if I'm catching it out and then I'm pulling it in and then I'm pushing it back out, I'm making it really hard for the running back to have a landmark to where to get his chest and how to get over the ball. Okay, so we tell our guys, catch it out front, keep it out front. We really want to present that ball in a very consistent manner for the running back. Okay. We do what we call a crow hop. So as we pivot our feet, if you're just thinking inside zone, okay, we want to do a crow hop, which is anybody that has any background in baseball, shortstop feels the ball and he kind of gets that little 1-2 with his weight back so we can fire the ball. We just want to get our feet balanced. So after we catch the snap, we're going to flip our hips, catch it out front, keep it out front. We're going to flip our hips in that crow hop. So it's kind of like 1-2, right, left, and all my weight should be loaded back on that back foot or the foot on the same side as the back. Okay? We tell our quarterback to draw a line to the running back's aiming point. So I'm going to kind of show you what I mean by that. So I'm just going to draw. This is center, guard. We're running inside zone. So quarterback starts right here. My tailback's back here. Okay, so here's my tailback. We tell our running back on inside zone, I'll get a little bit further into this, but we press the center's play side ass cheek. Okay, so we press the center's play side ass cheek. So what that means is when my quarterback flips his feet around, his feet, if you look at his toes should draw that line right to the center's play side ass cheek. That's kind of where we want to square out. It's not fully perpendicular line of scrimmage, but we want to draw that line. And I really check when we do our mesh drill, I'm always going to check that front foot because a lot of times the quarterback won't get his front foot all the way around and he'll get his running back off his track. So I think it's really important that you make sure that their feet are putting the running back on their track. Okay? Tell our quarterback, catch it out front, keep it out front, and then as we crow hop and get our feet balanced, we want to push that ball back. So we want to push it back to our back shoulder, and our weight should be loaded on our back foot. Okay, so we're real athletic. Ball's pushed all the way back, all of our weights loaded on that back foot. The other key coaching point that any kid that's played quarterback and probably any kid that's played running back in our program can recite to you is heart to heart, not dick to dirt. Okay, so when we get up and we do that mesh, all right, the heart is just kind of below parallel, okay? So when we're riding that mesh, we want to push it back, and we want to be just below parallel. We don't want to be down here, okay? So heart to heart, that's a good mesh. This is where we want to be. If the ball gets down here, we call that dick to dirt because the chances are if we're getting that ball too low in the mesh, it's going to end up in the ground, okay? So the coaching point is heart to heart, not dick to dirt. Immediately after I catch the snap, and this is why you have to rep these mechanics, okay? Immediately after I catch the snap, my eyes should go to the read defender, whoever that may be. It may be the end man on the line of scrimmage. It may be a 4-eye if you're running midline. It might be an inside linebacker on RPO. It could be a safety on a third level read, okay? So as soon as I catch the ball, my eyes go to my read defender. So all those other mechanics should happen just subconsciously. I shouldn't have to think about it. It should just be muscle memory, okay? Tell our kids, ride and decide. All right, so we're going to push that ball back to our back shoulder. Our weight's loaded on our back foot. All right, I'm not going to start my ride, and we tell our quarterbacks, when you push that ball back, you act like you got a button on the back of your hand. I'm not going to start riding that mesh until I feel a running back push that button. So as soon as I feel his chest on the ball, then I'm going to ride that ball all the way to my front shoulder. Okay, so we really want to ride from back shoulder all the way to front shoulder. Okay, we call that ride and decide. Don't start the ride. Some guys naturally will catch the snap, they'll flip around. As soon as they get their feet set, they start riding the mesh and they start riding it early. Well, what happens is if I start riding early and that ball's not connected to the running back and I get a give read and I want to go give it to him, that ball ends up on the ground. So I got to make sure that I load that weight and I'm patient and I let that ball get into the running back's chest before I start riding to my front shoulder. Okay? Hopefully, as I'm jumping around, you guys can at least see a little bit of this. Okay? As I'm riding from back shoulder to front shoulder, my weight transition. So I'm shifting my weight, just like a quarterback would throw and transfer his weight from his back foot to his front foot. As I'm riding, it's the same thing. I'm transferring my weight from my back foot to my front foot. And as I'm doing it, I'm staying in a nice low athletic position. What happens is if I get a pull read, so I'm up here and I ride it and I get a pull read, I should be low. And now my weight's on my front foot so that I can disconnect that ball and I can drive off my front foot. Okay, so we want to make sure that there's transition, that you're transferring that weight from your back foot to your front foot. Okay, if we get a give, so if we read it and we get a give, we hand the ball off, we're going to fake with empty hands, and then we tell our kids, we always tell our quarterback to grab the neckline of your jersey and tug and carry out a fake. We want to fake 5 yards and make one cut. Okay, so we're faking upfield 5 yards, make one cut. We tell them to tug because that's what we tell. We tell them if they're carrying the ball, we want wrist above elbow. So when we force them to grab their collar, it forces that wrist above elbow action, and it creates a good mesh. A lot of times you'll watch quarterbacks and they'll hand the ball off and they'll just go running around like this to carry out their fake, and it's pretty easy to tell that they don't have a football. Okay. If we get a pull read, same thing, right into the front shoulder. We're going to be sudden and bring that ball straight to our chest, and then we want to replace the end line of scrimmage high and tight. We tell our guys 5 points of pressure, okay? Fingers, palms, forearm, bicep, rib cage, that's our 5 points of pressure, wrist above elbow, okay? Put the ball right on your titty and rub it raw, okay? So that would be our post-snap mechanics. All right, here we go. So what we did a couple of years back, we used to have like 4 or 5 different kind of meshes. And when I say meshes, I mean like the footwork for the quarterback and the running back based on the scheme was like different for every scheme. And it was too much. We were inconsistent. And so what we did is we really kind of streamlined it to where we have downhill mesh, which is inside zone, GT, power, anything that's an in between the tackles mesh is what we call downhill mesh. And then we have more of an outside track, outside zone path. And then we have a true like fly sweep, power read. I shouldn't say fly sweep, but power read or GT read, where we have a kind of a flat across the quarterback's face mesh. So we streamlined it to rather than having an inside zone footwork and then having power footwork and same side power, we've really tried to streamline it and make it as similar as possible. Okay? So if we're running our downhill mesh, all right, inside zone, GT read, gap RPOs, anything like that, here's our mechanics. Catch it out front, keep it out front. Okay, we're going to crow hop. Crow hop. We're going to step. First step is with the foot closest to the running back, and that front foot's just kind of like toe in the ground. We're nice and loose. Okay. Toes draw the line at the running back's aiming point. On the downhill mesh for all of them, inside zone, GT, power, we tell our running back to aim at the center's play side ass cheek. Okay. On power, it ends up usually hitting a little bit looser, but I'd rather have that guy press it too tight and then be able to bend it a little bit on power than have him get used to pressing it too wide and then getting too wide on the inside zone. And we run our inside zone more like it's veer. So we want to press that, then we're going to bang that thing downhill. On inside zone, we tell our running back, press it to the front side, center's ass cheek. All right, and we tell them you're an airplane and you got 2 runways. You got a runway in the front side A gap and you got a runway in the back side A gap. You're going to try to land your plane 100 miles an hour in the front side A gap. If you get to the heels of the O-line and you can't land on that runway, you're going to jump at that backside. All right, so we don't bounce, we don't press outside wider against one shade. We don't do any of that. We press it to center's play side ass cheek every time, and we're trying to bang that thing front side A gap hard, 100 miles an hour, get 4 yards. And if it gets cloudy, we're going to jump cut it back. Okay. That's how we teach our back. Again, quarterback, push the ball back, load your back foot, heart to heart, not dick to dirt, eyes on the read defender. All right, we're going to ride and decide, shoulder to shoulder. Don't start your mesh until you feel the running back's chest hit your hand. So let's take a look about how we do this. So this is how we rep. When we go into practice, our first group period of the day is our mesh period with our quarterbacks and our running backs. And you'll see Coach has got this filmed up. This is filmed from a drone, which if you're not using a drone to film practice yet, it's one of the best things that I can recommend that you do. And if that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit up. I'll put his email in the chat box at the end. But Niles Outley, our assistant coach, he's got a whole PowerPoint presentation on the drones we use and the program and how we do it and all that stuff together because we get asked about that all the time. Okay, so this is just our inside zone mesh drill. Our running back really should be 2 yards wide, 1 yard deep. Okay, so he's 2 yards wide, 1 yard deep. We don't go like inside leg of tackle or outside leg of guard because those guys splits. They're changing their splits. We kind of use what we call smart splits. So we're going to adjust our splits based on the scheme and based on the techniques that we're seeing. Okay, so we're 2 yards wide, 1 yard deep. This is a really good look at what we want our quarterback's mechanics to look like. Slight bend in the arms. All right, we're pushing our hands out. We've got our wrists slightly cocked, making the U. His heels are at 5 yards. And that's why, we're so lucky to have a turf field with nice lines because we get this good film and we can really, really watch the track of the back. We can watch the quarterback's feet. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, quarterback, catch it out front and keep it out front. Watch how he does a really good job of catching it out front and presenting it. Okay, now he's reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. Let me go back and pause it. Okay, now this is me. All right, really svelte, lean, athletic defensive end right here, getting less athletic every year. All right, I'm just going to play games with him. So I'm going to give him some slow plays, stay squared and come off. I'm going to give him some slow plays and go. I'm going to run right at the mesh point. I'm going to try to give him some different things to look at. Okay, we want him to push that ball back, and you can see right here, and we get real finicky. Don't start riding the mesh until the running back's chest is over it. Watch how he starts riding it a little bit early. It's a little early. The other thing we want to watch is let's check the front foot. This front foot should draw a line at the center's play side ash. I don't think he got his front foot around quite enough. It's a little wide. Okay, it's a little wide. Then what you should see is his weight should transition from back foot to front foot as we go. And we don't want to take, you'll see sometimes this quarterback takes a little extra step with his front foot. And when he does that, let me pause it. When he does that, if you can see how far his feet are, that's not a very athletic base. So we don't want to take that extra front step and get too far extended with our feet. I tell our guys, if it's taken a little bit longer to make their read, and they're riding to their front foot and they get towards their front foot, they're not quite ready to make it, I'd rather have them just kind of slide with that guy. Take another little reset crow hop step and just shuffle with that back for one more split second, all right, to make sure that you can keep that ball connected as long as possible. But you also don't want to get outside your frame. We teach our guys about staying inside their frame. From the outside of your shoulders to the front of your nose to the back of your ass, it creates that frame. And if you step outside that frame, you lose power. Right now, he's got both of his feet outside his frame, so he's just not as explosive coming out of it. Okay? But not bad. Right into the front shoulder. All right. If you get a pull read, that ball should be high and tight. It's a little low right now. We want that ball right up on his titty, high and tight. Okay. And then we tell the running back, if you get a pull read, then we don't want to cut it back. Keep it front side. All right. Now, as far as the mesh with the back, he's going to make a nice big open pocket. He's going to get his chest on the ball. Once his chest is on the ball, we tell him light pressure with your forearm. We just want to apply light pressure with your forearm. Right? We don't want to go squeeze that thing right away. So quarterback's got it in his chest. The running back has light pressure. We're not gripping it. All right. Light pressure. Fingers are just lightly on the points. As soon as the running back feels the quarterback start to pull out from his chest, he's going to clamp. And we do a drill all the time. We have the quarterback put the ball right in the running back's chest. He's got light pressure on it. And I say, pull it as hard as you can, as fast as you can, to see if he can take it from you. And they rip it out. The running backs can never get it. Okay. Now, if you do it like Sally Limperist and you don't have any kind of suddenness to it, then those guys will get it. So we always tell our guys, when it's time to disconnect, it's got to be sudden to the chest, okay? So that's really important. So we should have light pressure, press to the front side A gap, and we're reading. Here's our rules as far as this read end, all right? We tell our guy to just draw a line with his eyes to this defensive end. If my outside shoulder gets down inside that line, that's a pull read, okay? So if my outside shoulder gets down inside that outside line, it's a pull read. If I, inside that line. If my inside shoulder comes up outside that line, all right, that's a give read. And then if we run straight down that mesh point, like a lot of teams try to do now with those big, long, athletic guys, this really comes back down to who is the more dynamic athlete. If that guy runs right at the mesh, who's the more dynamic athlete? If this quarterback is dynamic and he can stick his foot in the ground and go make that guy miss on the perimeter, then go. If you're that guy, then go. If that guy isn't that guy, if he's kind of slow-footed, he's just athletic enough to keep a guy honest. If that guy runs right at the mesh point, and hand this shit off and give us a really good fake and try to just slow that guy down. Okay. So if they charge the mesh point, then we really just want the ball in our most dynamic player's hands. Hopefully your quarterback feels like, hey, shit, I want this ball in my hands. All right. But if he's not that guy, we don't want to force him to be that guy. Okay. Now, this is from spring a couple seasons ago, and this is the very first day we did it. And we've got quarterbacks that aren't as smooth in it. We got running backs that haven't done it before. Okay. So I put some bad cut-ups on here too, so we can. Okay. This one's not bad. Now I want you to see the running back track is terrible because this is the first time he's ever done it. So he doesn't really know what he's doing. Okay. The quarterback is not bad. He's really doing a good job of pushing the ball out. Okay. Push it back, back shoulder, ride and decide. Now what you'll see this quarterback does is because the back's a little slow getting over the ball, he's going to just take an extra shuffle step with him. Okay. So you can see right here the quarterback. He does his crow hop. He goes closest foot, outside foot, 1, 2, and then he takes a little extra 1, 2, so he can just keep it in there a little bit longer. Now, here's the thing that's important. You can shuffle down with that back for an extra step on a first level read. If you're throwing RPO, your quarterback better not be shuffling into the line of scrimmage, because if he gets a pull and throw read, it ain't going to happen. So make sure, and you'll see this guy when we go to our RPO version of this drill, that kid tries to use the same inside zone mesh and he shuffles in the line of scrimmage and he pulls out and he's throwing the ball into the back of the tackle. So we got to make sure we don't do that. Okay. Now, we don't want to be here. All right. We don't want to be locked. This mesh is starting to get a little low. This front foot's not coming around. So now when you see this track, we're pushing it real wide. And here's what we tell our guys. If the running back shuffle and he's coming downhill to the center play side ass cheek, and we're drawing him to the C gap, what's going to happen is as we work across this mesh, this ball is going to get pulled further and further away from the running back, and that's when the ball hits the ground. So if that front foot of the quarterback doesn't come around, all right, we're in bad shape. Now watch the quarterback. He's starting to ride the mesh before the running back gets over the ball. So now the running back's got to reach with his hands because we're riding it before, and we're not pushing the ball back. He's just catching it out front, and he's just pivoting it around the midline. So he's just pivoting it around. He's got to push it back. Okay, so it's really important that we don't just pivot around that midline, that we actually, as we pivot or as we take that pro hop, we push that ball. He should be pushing this ball further back towards his left shoulder. It's also, he's got to have more bend in his arm. This is just a really unathletic stance right here. Okay, here's another kid right here, and this is really important. Watch when he catches this ball. There's two things I hate. I mean, this front foot is nowhere close to getting to where we want it to be. He's pushing this guy so wide, so we're going to get really disconnected. And then the other thing you got to teach guys to do too is how are we presenting this ball? We don't want to present this ball with the point up, because if we put that point up, it's not a natural. So it's like we tell them it's like you're shaking somebody's hand. You wouldn't go to shake somebody's hand like that. You want to put that ball flat like if you're reaching out to shake somebody. All right. So it's really important. Sometimes for whatever reason, the quarterbacks, because they're so used to wanting to bring the ball up, they start cocking the point of that ball up, and we don't want to do that. So make sure that you're taking a look. And that's why filming this drill is so important, because sometimes, you just kind of half-ass go like, all you care about is he reading the end right. Well, that's great. He can read the end, but his footwork's shitty. The way he's presenting the ball is bad. And then as he rides this mesh, it starts out heart to heart and it finishes down dick to dirt. Okay. Look where he pulls that ball. When he pulls that ball's even with his nuts. All right. We don't want it down there. All right. That's when that ball, if we get a sloppy read and that ball's too low, that's when it hits the ground. And this is really fine-tuned details, but it's got to be. I think if you're going to do this stuff and make this the huge part of your offense, then you got to know how to coach the fine points, the details. Okay, switching sides. Here's our running back's path. I didn't get into this. So what we teach our running back, and this is on all of our plays except for power read. Power read, we go on the snap. We play a little bit wider than we go. Okay, but if any of our other meshes, we go on the catch of the ball. So as soon as this football ticks his hands, the minute it ticks his hands, that starts our track. On any downhill mesh, we do a lateral shuffle, 1, 2, plant inside foot, and we want to come shoulder square downhill. Okay, so you can see he's going to go 1, 2, plant, shoulder square downhill. All right, we used to do it like probably everybody else does it on inside zone, which is open, cross, and then square. But what happens with high school kids is they take that crossover step and they get their shoulders turned way too wide, and they never get square downhill as much as I'd like them to. And again, we want this thing banging downhill hard. I want square shoulders. I never want to lose yards on inside zone. We tell our guys, we better be able to get at least 2 yards on inside zone, even if the shit's blown up, because we should be hitting that thing 100 miles an hour with square shoulders. All right. So we are never going to lose yards on inside zone the way we run. Okay. Good job again. And I always do this. And this is one thing, we didn't even know this kid was doing this until we started filming this mesh drill, because right now he wants a little bit more time. Rather than just extending this foot, he should just take another crow hop, right, left. Just take that little extra crow hop. Because if he does that, he stays within his frame. Right here, you can see that lead foot gets outside of his frame, and he's long and athletic, but he would be so much more explosive out of this cut if he wasn't so far extended with that front foot. He'd be a little bit more explosive coming out of there. All right, you got to be twitchy because those guys coming off the edge are athletes. Okay, so I know everybody's seen inside zone, but I just want to show you kind of how we put it to work in a game. Just practice what you preach. and make sure kids are doing it the right way. So just some basic inside zone reads, same practice. This time he does a better job. You can see him take that little extra kind of reset step with the right foot. You got to get that right foot out of the ground. Okay. So getting a pull and replace lead. We want to carry out our fake with our back 5 yards and make one cut. Get that ball up a little bit. This is a little low, dick to dirt mesh. We don't want to be too low with it. Ride it, pull it high and tight, pull and replace, and then get vertical. Okay. This kid's 230 pounds. He needs to put his shoulders down and run somebody's ass over. Okay. So I'm not going to spend too much time showing you that. All right. So here's the next one. So that's downhill mesh first level read. Now with that one's showing you reading the defensive end. Now the next one is putting the read onto the second level. Okay. So now we're going to take the read off the first level. We're going to put the read onto the second level. The pre and post snap footwork doesn't change whether it's a first level read or a second or third level read. Okay. The only thing that might change is we give our quarterback the option to make a junket call. Okay. So if we're reading the backside inside linebacker and that dude walks up off the edge and he's coming and I know I'm throwing the ball because he's my read guy, I'm going to turn the running back and go junk it. And that puts the running back on him. He's going to go block his ass and the quarterback's going to catch it and take his, whatever one-step footwork mechanics and throw the ball. Okay. We're not going to still ride it and read a guy that we know is coming. So if he walks up in the gap and he's mugging the A gap or whatever he's doing, make a junk and go block his ass and throw the ball. Okay. So that would be the only thing that would change it. Post snap, the only thing we tell them different is on first level read, we want to start back shoulder. We want to ride that thing to the front shoulder. Even if I get a pull read in the middle of my chest, I still want to ride that thing to my front shoulder to really sell it. If we're running RPO and I get a pull read here, I'm disconnected, flipping my feet, and I'm ready to throw. Okay. I don't need to ride that ball to my front shoulder on RPO. The minute I get my read got a trigger and I get a throw read, I'm going to disconnect. I'm going to flip my feet, get them hot, and get the ball out. Okay? The other thing that's important to talk about, if we get a give read on a first level read, the quarterback is faking with his feet. He's faking with his legs. All right, we're reading a first level guy. We want to carry out a fake with our legs. If we're not reading a first level guy, then we're not going to fake with our legs. We're going to fake with our arm. So if it's an RPO throw and we get a give read, we tell our guy, hey, RPO, give, flip your feet. We want open hand, and we want to fake with a open hand throw. Okay? So we want it to look. We want the mechanics of the footwork and the arm action to look like he's got a ball in his hand. It's no different. We don't want some bullshit kind of like half-ass, wrist flip or something. It's got to look like he's got the ball and he's pulling that thing out and ripping it. So this would be like lock zone. So we're basing the backside in. We're reading the backside linebacker. Okay. Or running one back power and reading the overhang. Okay. So this would be taking the read off the first level and putting the read onto the second level. So here's how we drill this up. Now here's me. I'm the read guy. Now instead of being a first level read guy, I'm a second level read guy, and that can be whatever you want. Okay. And then we're going to take a player. All right, one of our other running backs, like this 270-pound Paulie, who's going to run people's ass over this next year. We're excited about that. All right. So I'm just going to put him in whatever landmark we're throwing. So it could be like a hitch route. It could be our win route from the slot. All right. It could be outside more. It could be a glance route. Just put him in the landmark for the throw. Don't make your running back run the damn route because it'll be a CF and you'll be chasing the ball around. You won't get your reps. So just put them in the spot you want them, and then the coach plays the read. So now here I'm just going to pop. Damn, I trigger. I trigger run. Okay. Now watch my quarterback. Catch it out front. Keep it out front. We still got to get our footwork around. We got to anticipate. As soon as I see my read guy trigger, just connect, flip my feet, load it, and get it out. Okay. People ask me all the time when we run RPOs, do we change or do we tell the offensive lineman anything? No. We don't change their blocking schemes. We don't tell them not to go beyond 2 yards. The only thing we tell them is they have to take a step and check the hip of the near lineman. If they don't have anybody in their gap, they don't have anybody that's on them at the first level, they have to step and check the near hip of the next down lineman before they climb. We don't want our tackle to just climb right now. Because if he just climbs right now on his first step because he doesn't have an inside threat, he's going to get downfield too fast. But if he takes his step, his zone step, and he checks the hip, so he kind of takes 2 steps before he works to the second level, then it times up to where we don't really have any issues with it. Okay? So this is just our lock zone RPO throw. Okay? Flipping it the other way. Now I'm just kind of hanging, hand the ball off. Now you see the fake right here. This is what I want. Okay? Push the ball back, flip your feet, give it, flip my hips, and it's got to be sudden. I want to fake with my arm. That fake right there is going to hold at least one guy. That's all we want to do. That might be the backside safety who can be the guy that saves a touchdown. So we want to try to hold him. Yeah. Okay. Same look right here. Inside zone. Backers hanging. Hand it off. Flip my feet. Open hand fake. Okay. Be sudden with it. Okay. Here's another poor mesh. Okay. Dick to dirt. The ball is extended. It's starting to get down dick to dirt. It's too low. Okay. And then he hands it off, and then his fake is just with feet. There's no arm. So we want to make sure, and the reason why we're doing this is this has got to become second nature. I can't have our kid, he's reading an inside linebacker, and then he might be throwing off an overhang or a safety. So he's reading the inside linebacker, throwing off an overhang or safety. He's got a lot of shit to think about. He can't be thinking about my first steps here and the ball goes here, and then I write it from here to here, and then I do this. Like that you have to rep this so often that he doesn't have to think about his mechanics. And you can see the guys that are newer to it, their mechanics, they're thinking so much about the mechanics of their footwork and the mesh that they're not processing what's happened at the second and third level. So that's why this has to be an everyday drill. I tell these kids it's got to become so monotonous that it's like second nature to them. Okay? And when it starts getting monotonous and boring, then you know that you're good at it, and then you got to keep doing it. Okay? Watch the front foot. Same kid right here. This is my gunslinger. He wants to rip this ball. He thinks it's a PRO. He thinks it's pass run option. And we tell him, bro, this shit's run pass option. That's why it's called RPO. The first option is the run. When in doubt, and we tell our guys all the time, quarterbacks, when in doubt, hand that shit off. Okay? This is a run pass option. The run comes first. You can't stay open like this. You're pointing them too wide. If we get a run read right here, and this guy's square, that ball's going to be on the ground when we get to the front shoulder on the mesh. Okay, so get your front foot around. I should have never given this kid a pull and throw read. I should give him run reads every time until he starts getting that front foot around. Okay, now you can see this is what we want. If you are going to pull and throw it, flip those feet, load your weight, and rip that thing out. Okay, it's got to come out hot. Okay, here's the example. This is why we can't take the extra shuffle on an RPO. Shuffle, shuffle. Oh, if I get a pull read, now I'm freaking running like my chicken with my head cut off. All right. If I got a pull and throw read, I can't throw from that profile. Okay. You can see him, he's laughing. He knows he's confused. That's why you got to be real cautious about kids getting too sloppy with their footwork, because now all of a sudden the read goes from first level to second level. My footwork's bad. All right. Or I don't know what kind of footwork I'm supposed to use, and now I'm not in position to throw that ball. Okay. Really important. Okay, going the other way. Linebacker triggers. Flip your feet, throw it. Make sure the weight gets loaded. We don't want to pivot. We don't want to pivot and have our weight too center. We got to make sure that weight's loaded on that back foot. So you got to really train that. We do a lot of drills because we throw a lot of key screens or fast screens outside. And really train those guys how to flip their hips, load their weight, and get the ball out. It's like being a second baseman or being a shortstop, how to get that ball, put your foot in the ground, and get it out. I don't care about the seams. I don't care about the release. I don't care about anything. All I care about is your feet. All right. You got to get your feet around, and you got to load your weight. Okay. If your weight isn't loaded right now, he's too balanced. The weight's too balanced. Then this becomes all arm on the throw. We want to make sure that we're driving off that back foot. Okay. Now let me turn my volume off so I don't blast you guys. Sorry. Okay. So here's kind of where we would use this RPO throw. And this is kind of how our offense works. All right. 11 personnel. We're a big 11 personnel team. We tell our quarterback, this is we're putting a second level read on. We can account for 6 guys. They got 4 down plus 3 inside. We're working inside zone to the right. We're basing out on the backside end. We're putting our read now on number 7. This guy right here is number 7. We can't account for him. We can block 4, 5, 6. All right. We don't give a shit about the corner. We don't block. We don't count corners in the run game. Okay. If 7 plays run, I've got to throw whatever my RPO is, because we can't. If we're playing a good football team, we can't win 6 on 7. All right, that's just kind of how it works. All right, so we don't feel like we can work 6 on 7. So we're reading number 7. 7 triggers run, pull the ball. We're just throwing all hits right here. Okay, so you see the quarterback right here, catch it, work your inside zone mesh. We're reading number 7. If that 7th defender triggers, man, disconnect, flip your hips, load your weight, and drive it. Okay, that's all we want right there. Same thing right here. Now 2 by 2 open. We've been banging this hitch. Number 7 starts widening. All right, we can count for 4, 5, 6. We have to read 7. 7's walked out a little bit. I still have to hold him with my arm. So I'm going to put it in there. Bam, fake. Now, this is the kind of half-assed token fake that I don't want. All right. That's not what it would look like if I was going to throw it. I got to make sure that my feet and my arm action is sudden. I got to flip around and I've got to be sudden with it. That's going to hold that guy a little bit longer. Okay. But you can see right here, we've got numbers. We're 6 for 6. Hand the ball off and get 6 yards. Okay. You got to be willing to live with that. Your quarterback has to understand that we want to run this thing first. Run, pass. Okay. Run, pass. This is good sudden feet. Watch the sudden feet and arm action on this one after the give. Okay. Hold somebody. Look at these guys. Watch these two guys hold longer on this play on the hitch because of the fake from the quarterback. See that? Yeah, they hang. They're late to the party. Okay, same look right here. Inside zone, away from the tight end. We're 7 for 7, or 6 for 6, excuse me. Running the all hitch. All right, hand it off, and then we want to have a nice, good open fake. Flip your feet, open hand fake. Okay, so let's get into the next thing. Okay, outside zone mesh. Outside zone mesh is the same as inside zone mesh. The only difference being now we're going to draw the line. Instead of drawing the line at the center's play side ass cheek, we're going to draw the line at the inside hip of the tight end or the imaginary tight end if we don't have an inline tight end in the game. Okay. Running back's footwork on outside zone is open, cross, and then he's going to take his third step to put his aiming point to the inside hip of the tight end. And this isn't an outside zone presentation, but we teach our running back bounce, bang, bend. If we reach that 10-man line of scrimmage, we're going to stick our inside foot and bounce it. I always say stick your inside foot because our track should have us coming downhill to the tight end's inside hip. So if we reach it, I should kind of have to stick my foot and bounce it. I shouldn't be on a path that just keeps me going outside. If I'm on a path that just has me running perimeter, my ass will never get to the third read, which is the bend read. So I've got to make sure I have an inside track for the inside hip of the tight end. Okay? If we don't reach the end man line of scrimmage, we're going to run his ass. We tell our running back's going to stick his foot. He's going to press it vertical. He's going to look to bang off the next down line. Like the 3 technique. If we get the 3 technique reach, ball bangs upfield, we get it back out. Hash mark number sideline. If the 3 technique fights over the top, we run his ass to the sideline. Now the running back's got to stick his foot, and we got to bend that thing back underneath the 3 technique. That would be our bend read. So those are our 3 reads on outside zone: bounce, bang, or bend. All right. All the same landmarks though. Same thing. Catch it out front. Keep it out front. Push it to your back shoulder. Pro hop. Now you're drawing your line to the inside hip of the tight end. Heart to heart, not dick to dirt. Eyes on the read defender. So if we're reading outside zone, we're reading the backside end. If that backside end is going to force me to pull it on outside zone, he has to freaking come straight down the line of scrimmage with his shoulder squared, and he's got to scream down the line of scrimmage. He can't slow play or do any shit. If he runs at the mesh point, I'm handing it off. All right, because if this ball is just pressing wider, so I'm not worried about him running down the mesh point on outside zone. Okay, right into side. The ride starts when the running back chest hits the quarterback's button on the back of his hand. Okay, same things we were just talking about. I'll let you in, Pierre. All right, outside zone mesh drill. Again, we're just working the different footwork for the running back. Okay, so now you see running back. He's going to go open, cross, and the third step should put him on that track. And now you should see if we do this right, quarterback still crow hopping. Watch him go. He's going to go 1, 2. He always steps first step with the foot near the running back. He's going to take this crow hop. 1, 2. His weight should be loaded on 1. So even though he puts 2 in the ground, he should just be kind of putting his toe in the ground. He's just kind of tapping that toe in the ground. All his weight should be loaded here. As this ball rides to the front shoulder, the weight should transition to the front foot. Okay, so right. So watch. This is really good. Watch the knee bend. Back foot, transition to front foot. Now, and you can see this. If I would have got a pull here, watch his front foot. He's loaded. All right, he's loaded on this front foot. So if he gets a pull read, he can accelerate and explode out. Okay, it's really important that we get that weight transition. The key though is don't get too far outside your frame. That's why we got to use those crow hops to stay inside our frame. That's kind of right on the outside of our shoulders. All right, don't get too overextended. Sometimes these long levered guys, they like to get overextended a little bit. Okay, here's the other thing we'll do, and this drill doesn't show it because, again, this isn't really a outside zone presentation, but we'll put a coach right here on the front side, and we just pretend like we're working on the end man line of scrimmage. So what we'll do is I'll show reach, and I'll point my ass to the sideline, and that should tell the running back to stick his inside foot and bounce it, okay? And then the next rep, all right, I'm right here. I'm playing the front side tackle. I'll take 2 steps like I'm going to reach him, and then I'm going to run, and my ass is pointing inside, and that should tell the running back to stick it and bang it inside. And then when you get really good and you progress this, you put 2 coaches here, okay? And then if I reach it, we bounce it, okay? If I run it, Then we stick that foot, we work to the bang, we read off of this coach's block. He runs it and it bangs. Okay. If the second coach reaches it, then the ball bangs inside and it gets back out. Okay. So that's how we utilize our coaches to work on that. All right. I'm trying to see if I'm good on time right now. So outside zone, again, it's pretty easy. It's pretty similar on all that stuff. Here's a pull read again. The defensive end for a pull read, he has to come down the line of scrimmage hard. Okay. Pull and replace. Get that ball outside high and tight. Let's check. Is my wrist above my elbow? Am I rubbing my titty raw? All right. I want to see those guys rubbing that ball on there. Okay. I want them really applying that 5 points of pressure. Okay. Here's some outside zone in the game. Boom. Here's a bang read. All right. Overhang fights reach. We run his ass to the sideline, press that thing vertical. We get the next down lineman reach, get it inside and right back out. Okay. And I've got an awesome video. I think it's good, at least on my coach tube, of how we teach outside zone, what our rules are, and showing against a bunch of different fronts. So if you want to learn more about the scheme wise, it's on there. All right. We're just reading the M line of scrimmage. Here we go. This is a bounce read. Watch the running back right here. He's pressing to the inside hip of the tight end. There's really no overhang. They're kind of walked out. He sticks that left foot, stick it, bang, and bounce it outside. Okay. That's our bounce. Okay, lock outside zone. So now we're running our stretch or outside zone play. We're basing the backside end. We're putting the read on the second level. Okay, so same drill as it was before. I'm giving him the second level read. I'm putting this guy in whatever the landmark we want is. All right, we're working our outside zone footwork, and you got to change this because this is different footwork for the quarterback. I really don't want to see him throw this ball off of the ride on the mesh. Okay, I'd like to see him just reset his feet real quick. So once he gets the pull read right here, I'd like to see him just get those feet hot real quick before the ball comes out. I don't want to see him get too overextended and then try to throw the ball, or get too overextended and then try to throw the ball, because then your base is bad and this becomes a real whippy kind of army throw. All right, so when he gets a pull read here, I really like to see him pull it and then just get his feet hot. Okay, get that back foot hot, get it loaded back in the ground and get your weight where it needs to be. Okay. Now here's a lefty quarterback. Here's a lefty quarterback, my same guy. We get a give read, and then we turn, and then we don't have any arm fake. He's thinking about a million different things. He knows he did a dick to dirt mesh, so he knows he's gonna get yelled at. He didn't push the ball to his back shoulder, so we're doing lots of different things. So even though it's outside zone, we still want to push that ball back. He's a little bit better about pushing back, but there's not much mesh there. Here's what we tell our guys: if I pivot around, I don't push the ball back, and I ride that ball from the center of my chest to my front shoulder. Here's the ride: center of my chest to front shoulder, not very long. If I push the ball back, now here's my ride. That's all the extra time I get to make a read, to make my decision. So it's really important that we push that ball back so we can keep that ball connected as long as possible. Okay. Here's my guy that kind of gets his footwork a little excited right here, and he's shuffling with. We don't want to shuffle with the mesh on outside zone. Don't shuffle with the mesh on outside zone. Give yourself too far displays. Okay. So here's that look right here, outside zone. We're locking it. And we're throwing our pop concept back. Okay, we get a bounce read, he bounces it outside. Okay, same thing right here, outside zone, pop concept, we're throwing the little stick to the number 3, flip your hips, ball's out. Okay, and we didn't do a good job. We should have based backside and read him. For whatever reason, we tried to scoop and we left this guy. I don't ever run first level reads and second level reads combined. That's not what we want to do. Okay, if we're gonna read the second level, we're gonna block everybody at the first level. Okay, power read. All right. Here's how we teach power read. So this is our bash play, right? Everybody calls it bash play. All right. Catch it out front, keep it out front. Our running back's going to move up, toes on heels of the quarterback. All right. The quarterback has to lose ground because we're heels at 5, and we want the running back on the snap of the ball to be able to take the drop step, get his shoulder squared to the sideline, and go 100 miles an hour across my face. We don't want to push him into the line of scrimmage. So I want to show you this real quick. So here's my heel line, okay? So here's my quarterback's heels when I start on this point, okay? My running back's over here. He's got his toes on my heels. I want my running back on the snap to basically, he's got toes on heels. I want him to be able to run straight across my face, okay? Well, the only way he can run straight across my face if his toes are on my heels and my heels are at 5 is if my first step comes off that line and then my second step balances up. So this is what it should look like: 1, 2, all right, and then we go 3, 4. So we're shuffling down the line. If I don't take those steps, if I just start shuffling here, the running back has to press into the line of scrimmage to get across my face,
And what that does, and even if, let's say, let's give him the benefit of that, even if he flattens that thing out, here's the read end right here. So if I push that running back into the line of scrimmage and I'm trying to run quarterback read, I'm cutting down, right? Here's your math guys. I'm cutting down the angle that this guy has to defend, all right? If I can keep my running back flat, now that angle's that much more. There's that much more grass for that defensive end to defend. So it's really important. It's really important that you don't let your quarterback push the running back upfield. Okay. The easy solution is just move your running back heels on the quarterback's toes, but we don't do that for the other meshes. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep our meshes as streamlined as possible. 2 yards wide, toes on heels, 1 yard deep. So we're changing the depth a little bit. We're never up in front of the quarterback. We don't want to give that away because we can't run inside zone from that. We wouldn't run outside zone from that. So you're basically limiting yourself to like pass pro, arrow routes, or our bash stuff. All right. We don't want to give the defense things where they can start eliminating possibilities. All right. We want the defense to think everything we can do is available on every snap by the running back's alignment. We tell our quarterback he's going to catch the ball. He's going to start a shuffle right away. So he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're still right. We're still pushing the ball back. We're right into our front shoulder. We'd like to be able to make a read by the time we go shuffle, shuffle. By the time we get that front foot or the play side foot loaded, we should be able to pull front foot's loaded. Again, I know this camera's hard because it's limited. All right, but if we're running bash to the right, I kind of go shuffle, shuffle, and I plant my right foot. I'm reading the end. If he starts chasing the back, I'm going to get a sudden pull into my chest, and I'm going to pull and replace that end. And it'll be easier to show it on the play here. Okay, so here's our power read drill. Okay, again, quarterback's heels at 5. Running back, he's cheated out a little bit wider, so he might be more like 2.5. Toes are on the quarterback's heels. Okay, the quarterback's first step on this, we're running power, we're reading the front side end man. The quarterback's first step should come off his line, and his second step as he shuffles will naturally follow it. So now he's gonna lose ground on his first step. So see how he comes off that line? What that allows my running back to do is just take that open drop step, and he should be able to come straight down the line. So we're working that heels at 5. He should be running right down that line. You should be able to check. If this guy's any more than a half a yard in front of that line, we're pushing him too close to the defensive end, okay? And we tell this running back, and these guys follow a bad habit, make sure your running back's eyes aren't trying to read the same thing your quarterback is. Because if he's looking at this guy, his ass ain't getting outside like we want him. His ass should be staring at the freaking numbers right here, and he should be on his horse. We tell him, if you were running a 40 in the NFL Combine trying to make millions of dollars, run that fast. All right, that's how fast we want you to get out of here. Okay, because we have to threaten this guy, this dynamic athlete right here. We have to threaten him. We need to make him turn and open up and run. Okay. If he slow plays it, if this guy tries to fit his hands on the tackle and stay square, and I'm going 100 miles an hour, there's no way his ass should be able to squeeze my tackle with square shoulders and then catch me. Shouldn't happen. All right, we're going on the snap. If he squeezes down in at all and keeps his hands fit on the tackle, we should be able to hand that ball off and beat him outside. Okay, got to make it a sudden read. Okay, so watch. The key is that first step, left step. 1, 2 on the shuffle, and then you see if you need to take an extra shuffle, we're still pushing the ball back. See how he's still pushing the ball back to his back shoulder? So I can still ride it from back shoulder to front shoulder. So watch how he rides it back shoulder to front shoulder. Bam, make my decision at the front shoulder. Okay. Hopefully this film's not too choppy. I'm trying to slow it down so you guys can see it. That's where we want our running back. Don't push your running back forward. Okay. Now, if you're running off a fly sweep, I love how I don't know why my cut-ups are all fly sweep right here, but you're running off a fly sweep, it's different because that guy can just fly sweep motion, get his chest right over the ball. So the quarterback doesn't have to lose ground on that. I don't know why I decided to go fly sweep. Here's one with the top fly sweep. Okay? You can see quarterback lose ground, boom on the first step, right to the front shoulder. I'd like to see him step. I'd like to see him step and lose ground with his play side foot. He steps with his backside foot. I want to see him step with that play side foot and lose ground. Okay, pull and disconnect. Didn't block it up very well, but you can kind of get the point here. And it's not a power read clinic, but I at least wanted to show you what those meshes look like. Somebody remind me to not have as many fly sweep motions on here and show more of the back motion. All damn fly sweep. Okay, last one, and I'm gonna try to hustle because I'm running out of time. This is our inverted GT. So this is quarterback GT, where the running back is running the outside track towards the read end, and the quarterback's running GT. So if the end gets in the tackle's hip pocket, we're handing the ball off. We're blocking perimeter outside. All right. This is our third kind of footwork that we use, and we've played around with this over the years. We used to kind of run it similar to our power read or our bash play, but what we figured out is we don't want our quarterback shuffling away from the gap he's running. So we don't want him to get too far removed or too far displaced laterally. So what we changed it to is we went to skip pull. You offensive line coaches that are out there, if anybody's there, where we take that skip pull where it's kind of like that karaoke step. My back foot crosses and then my front foot settles up. And I'll show it to you on film because I know you can't really see me on the video. Everything else is the same, okay? We step with our foot. On this one, it's funky. We step with our foot closest to the running back because we're taking that karaoke. That's how we're losing ground off the line because we're taking that backward or that near foot skip pull step, and then my front foot's going to balance up. I'm going to load my weight. So I take that skip pull, load my weight right in the front shoulder. I can pull it and go. Okay? And man, line of scrimmage is the read. Okay. And again, if he gets in the tackle's hip pocket, hand it off. We're blocking perimeter front side. He chases the back, flashing across his face. We'll disconnect, and then we'll run our GT. So let's take a look at what that looks like, and then I'll open it up for a couple of questions here at the end. Sorry, my watch is tripping on me. Okay, so here we go. We're running GT, guard kick, tackle pull, read the end. Most teams run it. Running backs on this side, he runs it. If he squeezes, quarterback pulls it. We're just inverting that. So now the running back is the outside track. The quarterback's the dive play. Okay? So if the tackle chases, now the quarterback disconnects. He's running GT. Okay? Watch the steps. Quarterback's near foot. So his foot closest to the running back is going to take this backward skip pull, and then the second step's going to balance him up so he can ride it shoulder to shoulder. That gets us off the line. That allows us to have this running back come straight across my face, okay? And it allows me to not get too far displaced from the center, okay? I don't want to shuffle and get way out here because if I'm running GT, we're pulling guard tackle, I get too far away. This guy can kind of chase and still recover. I don't want to get too far displaced, okay? There you go. Skip pull, ride and load. And I will tell you this, we didn't steal this from anybody. This kid right here was like, Coach, what do you think about if we try this? It just kind of came natural to him. We're like, shit, that's pretty good. So we kind of started playing with it. So we've played with this technique. Our running back is supposed to go again on the catch on this one. It's not on the snap like power read was. And we changed that. We changed that because we just weren't getting there soon enough when we were getting there a little too early when we were going on the snap. So we changed that one up a little bit. Okay, the key point is near foot to the back has to step first. Again, try not to let your front foot or the foot to the read end, try not to let that get too far displaced. You got to be explosive coming off of that. Okay, here's what that play looks like. Again, running GT to the boundary, guard kick, tackle pull. GT is one of my favorite schemes. Got an awesome video up on GT on my CoachTube page. So you can see him read, defensive end disconnects, quarterback pulls it. This is before we changed to that karaoke skip pull footwork. He was kind of taking a little shuffle with it. Okay, we like the karaoke step now. Okay, man, double edge pressure. They still screwed up that flash fake. I'm telling you, these guys are supposed to tackle dive, tackle perimeter, and that ball flashes across their face, and this kid just can't help himself. And you see it all the time on this play. That's why this play is good, because it's some serious eye candy, right? Get guys with undisciplined eyes. Let me see if I can find one of my 13 runner. I think this is 13 running. There you go. There's a skip pull. Don't push the running back forward. You got to lose ground on that first step. Yeah, if you push that running back too far forward, it's hard. It makes it a lot easier for that defensive end. Okay. So those are our primary mesh mechanics that we have. I'll kind of go back to this page. Let me stop the share so I can see questions. Coaches, how much time do I have? I know there's another guy coming on pretty soon. Do I have any time?
Good, Coach.
You're good, Coach.
Yeah,
we're fine.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. See if I can find the. Is there like a chat box where there's questions on here?
They can raise their hand, guys. If you guys have any questions on the, if you go to the participation list, you can just raise your hand there, and then we can unmute you.
And if there's no questions, I either did a really good job explaining it or a really shitty presentation. So, we'll see.
Any questions, guys?
All good. It's all defensive guys. I'm the only offensive guy, so you could probably got defensive guys on here just waiting for the next D guy.
Hey,
I see Coach
I
Segovia. Coach Segovia, you got one?
Hey, hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
yeah, you're good.
No, now we can't. Can you?
There we go, right?
Okay, there it is.
Hey, Jason, first of all, I'm a native to the Valley. I'm a fan of all the amazing things you guys are doing, not only for Arizona, but just a fan of how much Arizona football has elevated the last few years. I'm going to be my first year defensive coordinator at Washington High School. I have a quick question. I know the RPO, the option game, is very deadly. It can humiliate and degrade defenses. So my question would be, is when you were working with the quarterback, was he locking in on the linebackers if they were coming in, or is he watching the linemen to determine the release of the running back, or if he's carrying it and running off with the ball?
Yeah, so good question, and I appreciate the shout out, man. Congratulations, that's exciting, man, and you're doing the right thing, which is, hey, jump into this. I remember my first year coaching freshmen. I thought I was overwhelmed then, and then you just keep learning, keep talking to coaches, keep asking good questions. But yeah, as far as the RPO concerned, we're giving him one particular guy to read. So it might be your backside inside linebacker. It might be your overhang defender. It might be your boundary safety. So RPO team's they're gonna try to find that one defender that can give the defense numbers in the box. Okay. So what it comes down to is, like, if we're in 4 wide, we can block 5 and read 1, so we can account for 6. Okay. So we just have to decide. We can make the 6th guy, the read guy, the defensive end, and just run zone read. And if he crashes, we can pull it. Or maybe my quarterback's not a runner. Maybe we want to say, all right, we're going to block that backside end. We're going to read your backside inside linebacker. All right. He's number 6. If he comes, we're going to try to throw a route that replaces him, the grass that he's supposed to cover on pass. Okay. So we're just trying to find ways to target different defenders. So, and that's the cat and mouse game, right? Is the defense. I think good defenses find a way to have numbers in the box and force teams to throw. And then the offense is going, well, shit, we want to run the ball, but if we don't have numbers, then we got to throw it. And so that's kind of the cat and mouse game. So I think what you got to do is you got to identify, all right, how can we have numbers in the box, but also try to take away those throws and change some of those reads and try to give the offense some inconsistent reads on who they're reading and what they're doing and how you're spinning and replacing guys. And, the thing I will say now is we're starting to see a whole lot more post safety than we saw. We're starting to see more cover 1 and cover 3 because if you cover guys up, then there's not that little overhang player, the gray area you got to read. But again, if you're going to play cover 1, you got to have dudes, and if you're going to play cover 3, then you got to be really damn good because you're opening some stuff up in the vertical game. Yeah, man, that's a cat and mouse game, but great question, and yeah, I think you just got to be able to change those reads. Don't make it easy for the offensive coordinator on the other side to figure out who they can read as a +1 and throw off of.
Gotcha. Thank you, Coach.
Coach Peace, you there? Coach Peace.
Yeah, you guys hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Hey, Coach, what's happening, brother? Hope you and the family are good.
Yes, sir. Same to you.
Thanks, man. Hey, I heard you guys do some practicing in the morning. We're actually talking about moving things into the morning for us down here. Talk a little bit about what you did, how that's working, all the ups and downs of that. Just kind of how that's going. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
man.
I'll tell you. So, really when I made the decision to do it is when they really started putting a whole bunch of stuff out about the whole heat index. And the athletic trainer started giving me the heat index and said, all right, at 3 o'clock, you can't be in any kind of equipment. At 6 o'clock, you can put helmets on. At 8 o'clock, you can put shells on. I'm like, and basically what they're telling me is if I put shells on at 4:30 and somebody goes down, it's my ass. And so I said, well, shit, you ain't paying me enough to take that kind of responsibility and liability. So I went to them and said, there's no way we can't practice until 8:30 at night with shells, and we got a game. You guys in Arizona that are here, we're practicing end of July, beginning of August, and we start scrimmaging. We have 2 weeks of practice, and we got to scrimmage, and I got to get my guys ready. So I went to them and said, I want to move my football period. We're lucky enough to have a football class. We moved it to the very first period of the day, and what we do is we do it 2 days a week. We go Mondays and Tuesdays. We do it in August and September, and then when we get to October, then we go to after school practices because usually the weather has broken by then. It's a little bit better, but we go from 6 to 8 a.m. on Mondays and Tuesdays. that goes into our first hour. School starts at 7:45. So my football class goes from 7:45 until about 8:38. So we practice until 8 a.m. We keep the cafeteria open. The school keeps it open on those 2 days. So that after practice is over, half the team goes and grabs breakfast. Half the team showers, and then they switch. The other guys that just showered, they go get breakfast. The other guys come in and shower, and then they all go to second hour. And then we bring them back in after school. We get out at 2:20. They come in after school. We'll either lift, or we'll watch film, or we'll do like a special teams practice, whatever your schedule suggests that you do. And then Wednesday we do an evening practice. We go at night so we can get into our shells. We go later. We go at 6:30. That's kind of the one night I'm like, hey, at 6:30 we're gonna have freaking shells on. If you say I can't be in shells till 7:30, I'm gonna own that one. But at least I can say if somebody tries to sue my ass, I can say, hey, here's all the things I'm trying to do to keep our kids safe. So it's a really good thing for us. We never have an early morning after a late night. I think that's really important. We had it one time over the summer, and we had a bunch of kids go down with major cramping because they got to have time to recover, especially in the heat. So never have a 6 a.m. practice if you had a practice until 8 p.m. the night before. So we make sure we don't do that, and then we never have an early morning after after the late night. After we practice on Wednesday night, Thursday they just start their normal school day, 7:45, because that's our walk day. So hopefully that describes it. I will tell you the best thing about it is, on Mondays and Tuesdays we're done by 4:15 at the latest. Our kids are at home. They have more time to study. They have time to eat dinner. They have time to get sleep, and coaches have time to actually see their families a couple days a week and spend time with them. And the guys that aren't on campus guys, they'll come in, work 6 to 8 a.m. practice. They'll get into work at 9, and they might just work an extra hour later. Most of them have flexible schedules that get that right.
Cool, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, guys? Anybody out there?
See, Coach Sanders has one.
Yeah, where you at, Coach Sanders?
See Brandon Sanders, he had his hands up.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Hey, Coach. I went and I watched your install last year, and one thing I had an issue. How much of this quarterback reads and stuff do you do during season? Like, how much time do you allocate that during season? Because that's where I think I kind of fell short.
So that mesh, that drills I was just showing you, that's called our mesh drill. We do that for 10 minutes every single day, all year long. And then it's broken down by scheme. So like once we get in season, Mondays is a zone day. We run inside and outside zone on Mondays. So whatever reads that we have on the game plan that week off of our zone stuff is what will work in our mesh period. So we marry that mesh period up with whatever's on the script. And then on Tuesday, that's our gap day. So whatever reads we have, whether it's an RPO or we're running GT read or whatever, we get those reps meshed up for 10 minutes that day. So we do those 2 days a week, and then on Wednesday we're going to just review. All right, we're going to review whatever that is. So we try to marry that mesh period. The scheme, what we're working on is whatever the scheme is that's on the script for that day's practice.
Thank you.
Yeah. I saw Coach Zeus, I think, had his hand up.
Coach CH, we got you, CH?
Oh, Coach CH, there he is. He's
I'm mute now. Hello.
there. You go. What's
Yeah.
up, Coach?
Hey, how you doing? I wanted to know what's your footwork, your basic footwork for your quick game, like your slants, your hitches. I know it's not RPO, but just your like.
That's a
footwork
good
for your
question.
quarterback.
I was lucky enough, my quarterback coach and myself, to get on a call with Coach Yursich, the offensive coordinator at Texas, and we were talking about that the other day. So we've kind of done traditional one step where we just load to one step and kind of get that back foot heavy. We don't really like that. What he's doing is kind of like an open shuffle step. So it's kind of like if you picture a quick three step without crossing over, where you just kind of open and it kind of get your feet just settled, kind of go 1, 2, 3 and get them settled. And I really like that. And you notice the quarterbacks will kind of do that naturally. So I think that's something that we're going to really start teaching more is just working on just kind of taking that open step and getting your feet settled. Kind of go 1, 2, 3 without a crossover. Because I'm not crazy about hanging on that back foot and getting the quarterback's feet stuck in the ground. So that's a good question. I think, man, you've got to kind of marry it with your scheme and what you're doing and your quarterback and constantly look at it. And that was one of the things that we looked at. We're like, man, we don't really feel good about that. So let's talk to some other guys and see what they're doing. So that one I thought was a really good answer.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Mohns, can you put up your information again real quick?
Sure.
Log
Yeah.
out of my huddle.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Yeah, so we can, guys, I'm sure Coach Mohns would share out this stuff and get back to you. Give us a shout out, give him a shout out, and we'll get back to it. A lot of good questions. Appreciate it, Coach. Really good stuff. I can tell you from having to coach against our offense, just for a few minutes during the day, during the week, is tough enough. I wouldn't want to have to do it for 70 plays on a Friday night. So
Yeah, Jim, I don't know what's going on with my
okay.
I lost my screen, but just so you guys, it's my email is my first initial J and then my last name Mohns, Mohns, and it's at susd.org, Scottsdale Unified School District.org, or just hit me on Twitter at Coach Mohns, and I'll follow you back, and you can DM me through there. Coach Zeus has had his hand up for a while. We can't dip on Coach Zeus. He's been waiting patiently.
Where you at, Coach?
We'll make the defensive guys wait like we always do.
Yeah. I hear you. Coach Zeus, where you at?
Coach Zeus, I see him. I think I can unmute him.
Yeah,
there we go. Coach, you
Okay,
good?
there you go. Oh no, hey, Jason, you answered my question. I was in regards to the off-campus coaches with that early morning practice, because I know my new coach I'm coaching for is thinking of going that route, early morning practices, and I'm a 0600 to 1400 sort of guy, so that kind of hurts my efforts to get there. So if the flexibility, if it's there, it's great. I just think that I know with the Arizona Heat, because I am here, it is challenging, with the index and having to get into practices. So, the nighttime practices are great. The early morning, I think I'm going to have to work on that.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you, I think, hey, any good head coach is going to, you're going to take all the information that you can. You're going to talk to all your guys. You're going to find out what their schedule's like. You're going to find out what flexibility they have. And if you can make it work and it's right for your program, it's right, but it might not be right for everybody. So,
right. Hey,
that's the thing. You got, hey, it's me and one other guy on campus at Saguaro. All the rest of our guys are off-campus guys, and none of them are getting their salaries. They're not paying their bills or feeding their families coaching football at Saguaro High School. So I think you got to respect that, and you got to take that into account. You got to make sure that you're doing things to make it so those guys can do it. They can make the commitment that you're asking from them. So if that's not at 6 a.m., it's not at 6 a.m. You'd rather have good coaches than just have guys that can be there because that's what you want to do or what works best for you. So
right.
I think that's important.
When you were giving out your email address, you got cut off there. You got real choppy. You want to give that out again for me?
Yeah. First initial J and then my last name Mohns, Mohns, and it's at susd.org, Scottsdale Unified School District.org. There it is. Coach Niles found a way to figure it back out.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Find a coach like Coach Niles who every time you screw something up, he can figure it out.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Coach Cam, thanks for having me, man. Really enjoyed being here. Coaches that were on, especially defensive guys. I love it, man. That's when defensive guys are trying to learn what the offensive guys are doing. That's how you get better. So try to do the same thing. We try to pick these defensive guys' brains to figure out what they're trying to do to us.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate your time. We'll shift gears here real quick. Niles, you got something for us, Niles?
That if you guys can see, here's my information here, my email and my Twitter if you want the information on this drone presentation. I'll probably be doing this sometime within the next coming week if you want to check for that. If not, I can just answer questions via email and via Twitter. It's up to you guys. I just want to give you guys that information as well. Thanks, Coach.
Good job. Yeah, it is night and day, man. That whole drone thing. I don't know how we did it for all those years without it. So it's really cool. Appreciate it. Coach King's on next. Guys, just hang tight here while we get our technical stuff handled here. Coach, you with us?
Yes, Jim, are you there?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Perfect. I'm on a new computer, so I wanted to make sure. So
Okay. Yeah. Good. You want to share your screen? There you go.
So what do you see?
Your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Okay.
So real quick, guys. Been a real pleasure having so many guys willing to come on and talk to us. It's really been a blessing for me to kind of get this thing coordinated. And I know Coach Outley's on here has really helped me on the technical side of this whole thing. And a few weeks back when I started reaching out to college guys and high school, coaching associates and saying, hey guys, we're going to kick this thing off. Would you be willing to speak? And, it's just really been cool to see how the coaching community has remained cool under fire and using the internet and using everything that at our hands to be able to share information and stay connected with our kids, however that is, stay connected with coaches. And I've known Chris for a number of years now, and Chris has been a real supporter of MFCN since day one. He came out to Arizona last year and spoke at our clinic here in Scottsdale, and it's just been fantastic to be able to pick his brain and talk some ball. So, Coach King, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Guys, you're muted just like we were doing with Coach Mohns, and we'll just make some notes and we'll get to questions as we go, or we'll get to questions at the end. So, Coach King, if that's fine with you, we'll get going. I appreciate you, Coach. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, it's been great knowing you the last few years. Obviously, we met at a Glacier Clinic a few years back, and